straight into it here, and a huge calculated risk for myself and Chris. This car is actually, we bought it as a non-runner with an electrical fault. It does actually start on a jump pack, but it does have some serious electrical gremlins. Of course, we have dropped it straight off to Josh while we're getting it unloaded off the lorry now. You can see it's been sat for quite some time. Let's get it unloaded, let Josh get in there and take a look, see what he thinks. So it does actually run, and I did drive it on there with a jump pack, and we've got Josh's jump pack on there, and it runs lovely. I don't even know if it's got any warning lights. Yeah, it has, it's got a lot. Steering's heavy. Steering's heavy because it's electric power steering, isn't it? And the wheels, you can hear them rubbing where the suspension's not going up, but it is a beautiful car. Josh, it's, what is the time? It's 4:45 on a Friday afternoon. I'll see you tomorrow about 2, yeah? It'll all be done. Not really.
It won't be the first dead Lambo that's turned up this late.
No, it wouldn't. It sounds alright, doesn't it? Yeah. Ingenium, it's 3 litre though. Yeah. Should I be worried?
No, these ones are alright. These ones are alright.
Oh, it does actually, yeah, it sounds nice.
Yeah, no, they're well, I mean, they're still fairly early, but they're alright.
Mate, we'll leave it with you. Look at this car. I can't wait to give it a wash. It's been sat that long. Let's leave it with Josh. As usual, of course, guys, you know, before I purchase this vehicle, 100% I'm running a check using Car Vertical. This is one of the largest investments we ever made. So, of course, I needed to check it out, make sure, number one, there was no outstanding finance. And then, of course, that it wasn't marked as an insurance write-off. And you can see there, odometer is fine, financial and legal is fine, and damage there is all fine. The only thing that did flag up is the fact that it's had 3 owners. So 2 previous owners, it's 3 in total, and this car is a late 2020, so in just 5 years it's had 3 owners. But pretty much like the supercars, the Land Rovers do change hands quite a lot. People have them, or in particular a lot of people have these for like 3 years on a bit of a PCP or a lease plan, and then they change them for a new one. But you can see that this one all checks out fine, and when we go to the odometer, all of that is going in the right direction, and the last known mileage was 41,289 miles. You got your maintenance on there, financial and legal, damage, natural disasters, market value. Car Vertical for the continued support on the channel. To benefit from a nice little discount off your must-do check, you can use that code that's been displayed up on screen throughout this check, or hit the link in the description where I'll automatically divert you to Car Vertical, including your discount.
So, hybrid Ingenium Land Rover, what could go wrong? This is a 3 litre Ingenium, and to be honest with you, they're a pretty good engine. And to be honest with you, the hybrid systems aren't actually that bad. And yeah, we've got battery charge light on. I haven't done a lot to this, I've just literally scanned it, and I've taken a couple of pipes off just to get into the alternator. So we got told it needs an alternator. I haven't looked at it yet, but I don't think it will, because there is some common issues with these cars. But just to show you, all I'm doing here is I've found the alternator, which is kind of buried, you can't really see it, and I've just put a little clip on the battery, or sorry, what would you call it, the live terminal on the alternator. And as you can see, we've got 0.7 volts. Now obviously the car is not running, but if this was a traditional vehicle, you'd have 12 volts here because it'd be connected to the battery. But this one, we've got to remember, is 48 volts. So there is no direct contact between the 12 volt battery and that alternator. And that alternator obviously also drives the engine. So it does 2 things. I'm just going to start the car. So engine is now running, and there is a battery light that comes on the dash. It won't do it at the moment because I have got a battery charger keeping the voltage up. So just bear that in mind. But normally we'll get a little light and we will have a fault saying charging system fault. The gearbox fault you can ignore, it's just because the car's been put into neutral, so that can be ignored. And now with the engine running, you can see we've got 0.7 volts coming out of that alternator. So it's a dodgy alternator, right? Well, again, no, not quite. I don't think so anyway. and I stand by that. Just because, oh hang on, it has actually, so the battery must be getting a little bit more flat. Because look, we have got the battery light and the charging system full. But what we've got to remember is, unlike old alternators, modern alternators are controlled. So it sit there spinning, but it won't do anything unless it's told to. So there is a module that is in charge of starting that alternator charging and controlling what charge needs to come out. So the next stage is going to be plugging it in. Fortunately, we've got the genuine Land Rover tool, so we're going to pop that in and then see what we can find. So now we're on here, we can do what's called a network integrity test, which basically will do a full scan on the car effectively. Now obviously this is a genuine tool, it knows what components should be fitted to this vehicle. So we'll let it run through this, and unless it's going to do it quickly. No, we'll let it run through, so it's just doing a scan on all the modules. Oh, there we go. Maybe it will be quick. No, it's get stuck. I'll pause it and we'll cut back in. So, 2 issues there. Got no communication with the front controls interface module, and none with the battery energy control module. Now that is interesting. I did suspect this module was going to be faulty, but not in this way. So that's interesting. The fact that we can't communicate with it. It shouldn't make a difference if the car is running, but let's just start it and do a rescan. I'm just going to do a rescan of it, but I've got a feeling, yeah, that might well be our problem, but not in the way that I thought it would be. So the first thing we're going to do is just try and do a software update on it. I don't think it's going to do anything. I don't think it's going to work, but let's give it a go. No module communication. So, yeah, I think we're going to have to do some digging. I think it's interesting that both of those modules didn't communicate. So I don't know if I said it in the last video, so I'm just going to go through, and basically this Epic D does have a fault code in it, which is a big clue, and that is U3008-13 control module ground A open circuit. Now I think on the Land Rover tool that may have a slightly different code. So this module is the inverter module, and that code is saying that it's not happy with a performance inside the module. That control module, I'm pretty sure, is going to be this DC-DC converter. And if we go into the data stream and select the page, look at, actually let's just come off so you can see what I'm looking at. Let's come, so we've got the DC, the active operating mode, and the requested operating mode. So let's start the car up. Boost mode, buck mode, and in a minute, not capable. And now I don't know if you could hear, but as soon as it goes to not capable, the RPM's going up on the car. The revs have gone up slightly. And I'm not going to, if it doesn't come up, it doesn't come up, but it will come up with the battery charging issue in a minute. And now there is a service instruction for lack of communication with this BECM. Now this is under potential recall, so if it is a faulty BECM, you're not going to see the repair because it will be getting shipped over the road to Land Rover and they will be able to do it. But at no point in the recall procedure does it say that the engine light, or sorry, the charging light comes on and the 12-volt battery dies. It just says things like start, stop don't work. So I am pretty sure we've got 2 issues with this, and I'm pretty sure I've got a feeling I know what's wrong with this car, and I don't think it's going to be part of this recall. We may have to send this in for the recall anyway, but the reason I'm saying all this is it does say, I can't show you this document, but it does say that to update the BECM software. Now you saw we tried to do that and it didn't work, but there is another section that comes down and says if it doesn't communicate and it fails, It says remove the fuse, put it back after a minute, put it back in, and then try again, and you should get communication with that BECM. I don't think we're going to get communication back, but let's follow the Land Rover instructions. Let's just rule it out, and let's do that now, and then see if it works. If it does, brilliant. But I don't think it will, and we'll get into it as we go. Yeah, fuse 34, which is that one right there, which hasn't blown. So it says pull that out, leave it for 1 minute, and then put it back in. So that's what we're going to do. Just check the fuse while we've got it out, and it looks visually okay. So we'll pop that back in after a minute and see if we can get back connected to that module. Now, interestingly, that has instantly made a fan come on, and now it's been a minute. See, the fan has stopped. So that tells me that module is at least doing something. But we still can't communicate with it. But I honestly don't think that that is going to be our issue. Let's just go into the report, see if it's made any extra codes. Still got a load of codes. So you've got certain codes like this, which is because it's got a ghost on it. There's the fault code for the generator, the batteries, because it was getting flat, etc, etc, etc. But there's no real change in codes. But this is the one that I want to focus on, and that code, I'm sure, is for that DC converter. So next thing we're going to do is find it. And just to explain, this is your 48 volt battery. I suppose we could just do a little voltage test on that and see what we've got, but you can see how small that is. That really isn't big at all. So you've got a big Land Rover like this, and you've got a tiny little 48 volt battery, and that makes it a hybrid. I'll leave that one to you. Moving on to underneath the car, you can see the DC converter is underneath this cover. I've had to cut the audio short here because the radio is on, and it's got a connector there. It's got its own module. It's got power, ground, and a CAN bus wire. That cover off, you can see the module, and that is what we've got to replace. There's like a little buzz bar, the 48 volt on it, a fan, etc. So you've got 48 volt and 12 volts under a little black plastic cover there. It's just 10 mils, etc. to get it off. And we was just confirming that the CAN network is all good on that module, which it was, but we did communicate with it, so we knew that anyway. Module out. Don't know if I'm going to be able to take it apart. I highly doubt it, but it would be interesting to see if we can. So with that new inverter fitted, you can see now that it's going into boost mode, which it was not before. It was going into not operational, but on the genuine tool it was saying that it's failed. But the voltage is still low, so I don't know if there's like another thing I need to do next, maybe update the module or something along those lines, but we still don't have communications with this BECM, so we'll see if we need to look into it further. But that code is gone, and like I say, we do definitely have voltage now, and actually we've got 40 volts on the high voltage bus, which we didn't before. But why is this main ECU voltage still low? So we've got a steady 12.1, but I do believe there is some charge going on here, because the battery would have been flat by now. It absolutely kills this little battery. This battery's off a Fiesta, so it's really not strong enough to make a charge. But I think we're going to do the old fuse reset again and see what happens now that that is back in line, because we don't obviously want to kill the new converter. But yeah, we'll give it a minute and we'll plug this back in and see what happens. And after doing an unlock reset, we have got 14.8 volts, so this is fixed. So I made an awfully stupid and amateurish mistake on that diagnosis, and I thought, shall I cut out the video? And I thought, no, let's actually just show real life what happens. So the car's come in, we've got no 48 volt and we've got no 12 volt, so the car's dying. No one seems to know. Like I say, I'm part of a specialist group on Facebook, and don't get me wrong, most of them are way beyond my capabilities. They're incredibly intelligent people, but there was no clear path with how these things operate, because a lot of people said, oh, you know, if there's a fault, it will switch the alternator off, and they're wrong. But Land Rover don't really give you that much information on the technical side of it, because that stud that I looked at on the alternator, which is my own stupid fault, it turns out there's two. The wiring diagram does sort of show it, but I just presumed it was ground and positive. Well, it's not. They've actually got a ground stud and the 48 volt output stud, and you can't see the 48 volt, the positive. It's encased, you can't really get to it very well. So I'm checking the alternator voltage, saying there's no volts, and I'm actually on the ground stud. So, hold my hand up to that. That was me being stupid. But where you can check it is underneath the car. So underneath the car, you've got a cover with a DC converter on, and you've also got a plug. You could test it here. This is 48 volt, it's blue. The wires are smaller, and the reason the wires are smaller is the higher the voltage, the less current you need to get the same amount of energy effectively it's a little bit more complicated than that, but effectively. So you can check, once you've got that cover off, you can check, you've got 48 volt stud here. I think that's the 48 volt and that's the 12, but we'll find out. And you can see we've got 40 volts. Now, obviously, like I say, I've made a mistake, so this car's actually fixed, so this is being recorded after, but that module was at fault, and that module's disconnected. And not only that, but the hybrid voltage battery is disconnected as well, but we still have got voltage here. So I think Land Rover Technical was right. It is actually PCM controlled, that alternator. I don't know if you can see this stud up here, but I made a stupid mistake on it. I'll try and find a photo of one to show it, but just in case any technicians are working on these and they want to know, or they search for the video and find it, with these connections disconnected, you 100% get 40 or 48 volts out. There's a bit of a drop. There's probably not much command in that alternator on, because it's not doing anything. There's nothing really connected to it. The 12 volt system's off, and so is the 48 volt. So if we had have not cocked up and gone on that pin on the alternator, we would have found this out an awful lot easier, and there'd be nothing really it could be other than this 12 volt DC converter, because you've got 48 volts going in and you've got 12 volts coming out. Now it will have, so yeah, the smaller one is the 48 volt, and then this bigger one is your 12 volt. Now you can see it's not charging. The only thing keeping this running is a battery charger, a battery support unit, which is really struggling to keep this vehicle alive, and the 12 volt battery, which is off a Fiesta in the boot. So yeah, quite interesting. Don't get caught out. I'll quickly show you a photo of the alternator. And this is what I was talking about. So you've got two terminals on this alternator, one positive and one negative, and obviously I missed that. And that isn't at all a dig at anyone. It's just some of the information isn't there all the time. But that being said, if I wasn't a prat and didn't put it on a ground stud, I wouldn't have needed to know that anyway. So now it's all running properly. It drives an absolute dream, but you can see it looks horrible. The amount of mould on it that's growing, but fortunately we've got a solution for that. So Jenny came in, one of my good customers, and obviously they've been on the channel before, but we're going to use their citrus brass pre-wash to give it a bit of a pre-wash, and then a new one which is a germicidal agri clean. Now this is mainly for farm vehicles, but it's okay to use. We've put it down to a safe level to use. We've mixed it with a little bit of snow foam, and you will see how well it cleans this vehicle. And it's also, because it's a germicidal, it will kill all this moss, so it won't return. Now it's getting dark, so I'm going to leave it till the morning to do the contact wash, but bear in mind this is just a contactless wash. That citrus pre-wash, which does most of the work, and then a bit of the germicidal. Now bear in mind this isn't Jenny Kim snow foam range, so it does a pretty good job. Obviously it's not as thick as their normal snow foam, as you'd have been able to see, but we'll wait till the morning when this water's dried off and we'll see just how clean this has got it. It won't be immaculate, but it'll give us a good base to give it the contact wash, but just as a pre-clean to get most of the dirt off, because you don't want to leave dirt on the vehicle and then spread it all in and scratch the paint with the wash mitt. So we'll see how clean this looks in the morning when the water's dried. See just how clean it's come up just with the pre-wash. Now don't get me wrong, it is not spotless. There is still dirt in it and it does need doing again, but just you imagine how much dirt has been removed from this vehicle before we go and hit it with a contact wash. We're going to move on and give this a ceramic snow foam, which is a really easy product to use. Mixed a little bit up in a snow foam bottle, and this will be enough to give that car a little bit of a ceramic coat, and you'll see what a difference it makes to how it beats off. So it is a real shame that we could not get this one completely finished, but obviously there is no point in paying out for a hybrid battery when it's under recall. So it's booked in with Land Rover. Rob's going to pick it up and then drop it back into Land Rover when it's ready. They'll put a new hybrid battery in and this one's ready to go. And let me tell you, this is a really, really nice car. It drives lovely. And that's without the hybrid system in. It's got plenty of power. So it'll have even more of an extra boost when that's working. It drives brilliant. So whoever owns this car is going to have a real good one. So we are not valeters, so we are amateurs, but I think you would agree those products make cleaning these cars super easy. And just look at the shine, how dirty all that was before and how easy that was to clean. There's still a tiny bit of a few water drops because we're not as good as some of the professionals, but you can see the tyre shine and everything is lovely. And just look at that. And that was a doddle, and we didn't even spend that long. It's probably taken about half hour, 40 minutes to give that a clean. Like I say, as amateurs, yeah, and what fantastic products, what a fantastic car, and someone is going to get a real nice one here. So that hybrid battery, as said, is going to have to be replaced. So that it incorporates the module as well. It is completely dead. We have tested for CAN bus signal here, the network signal. We've tested the powers and grounds and that all works, but unfortunately that module is going to need replacing. So there is no point in spending 1,500 quid or whatever. I think it's 1,500 quid. It might be a little bit less than that. I may be getting confused, but 1,500 quid on a module that ultimately is going to be replaced for nothing.
Even giving it a clean for us.
Yeah.
So this was the main issue, wasn't it?
Yeah, so there's, like I say, there's two issues with the car. Obviously, you had this. I made a bit of an amateur mistake on it at first, trying to diagnose it, which you'll see. But yeah, effectively, you had the alternator pumping 48 volts in it, and there was nothing coming out. It's quite common. Fortunately, by some absolute miracle, our dealer had one on the shelf because they're on back order. So
that was handy.
That's fortunate. But you've also got the hybrid batteries out, but
it's knackered. It's
absolutely shot. The module's gone. There is a procedure that Land Rover tell you to try and revive it, and it won't work.
But it's under recall.
It's under recall, so there's no point in spending any money on it because Land Rover are going to do it for nothing and give you a free coffee.
Because this is it's 2 weeks' time it's booked in for, isn't it? Which was the soonest, unless they get a cancellation. I think I might actually smoke about in this.
Nah, why would you want to do that?
I might actually, use it.
Yeah,
because
it's lovely.
It is really, really nice,
It's a lovely
isn't it?
car, yeah.
And Chris has never, ever seen this car, and it's one of the most expensive we've ever bought. Unbelievable. I said to him, we're going to get the Range Rover this morning. He went, what Range Rover?
Oh, he didn't even know?
He's not even seen it, has he? So, out of sight, out of mind.
Do you want to borrow my old one?
No.
Show him.
Right, let's head back to the yard in it then, I guess. What a beautiful bit of stock to have in, mate.
It is, yeah. Lot of car, that. Lot of car.
And runs absolutely beautiful now.
He's clever, isn't he?
He is clever. We're staying in our lane. He just...
Oh, yeah. That we couldn't have tackled that, Rob. We'd have
No.
been here a month and got nowhere with it, I think.
He blows us away every time.
He does. He's very clever. I've watched that bit of video back a couple of times. Really, really good.
Interesting.
Yeah,
very
really,
interesting.
yeah. So,
And
fair
nice
play
to see. He made a little mistake, like we all do.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
That's right. Yeah.
But what a lovely bit of kit. Let's get it out of the way. This car owes us £31,000.
Yeah, give or take a few pennies, doesn't it? Yeah.
It retails at around the 40 mark.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost to 2021, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Was
November.
Late November,
yeah.
wasn't it? It was registered, so.
November 20.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh said, this is beautiful. I look at the state of it. Please, can I clean it? His brother was actually going to come in and do a full valet on this.
Yeah.
He couldn't squeeze it in, and Josh said, I just had to clean it. And again, he made a lovely job, but you've probably noticed what I've noticed.
What's that?
It has got a fair few like marks and
Oh,
imperfections in it. It does want a proper polish.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, in this light, it probably don't show it so much, but
It looks pretty good to me.
yeah, what a car.
I can see there's a very slight one there.
Yeah.
It's a bit of polish.
bit of bush rash.
Yeah, but no, lovely car.
Why Josh has been doing this in the background, of course, I've been working as well in the background, with the, because when I got the V5 for this car, it was actually the wrong V5. He'd received another one.
That's right.
I had to wait for him to post me that. Then we went for a whole rigmarole of, I had to actually then tax it. I'd done all of this, of course, in the previous owner's name.
Yes.
Because I needed to remove his private plate.
His plate, yeah.
So this plate is no longer on this car. It is back on a 70 reg. And it's just stunning at every angle. So, mate,
I'll get you to grab that phone.
A lot of people say, I don't see the fascination, I don't really see it. You see the same as me, you've got one. Try and find a better driving car.
Oh, beautiful.
They are
Yeah.
beautiful. Your Defender's beautiful. And that car truly is a beautiful example. I'll start it up now that he's done all the repairs on it. I'll just put the ghost in. So nice that it's got that. Even nicer that we know the code.
Well, yeah.
Come and have a look at this, Chris. It's beautiful. Now this car does still have that same fault. All the lights will go out. It does have that hybrid fault.
Yes.
But it's
Jaguar Land Rover are doing that.
It's
and that's going to be free of charge.
It is going to be free. Turn that off. Now, what do you think? Like, this owes us 31 and a bit thousand pounds.
Yeah, give or take a few quid.
It retails at around that 40 mark, no lower. So trade on this is probably like
mid-30s.
Yeah, 36 maybe. What do you think? We're not greedy, but I know that I could actually sell this to a trader quite easily. I'm going to put it on Instagram and give everyone a chance to buy it. It's a beautiful example, But what do you? Where are you
Well, I
thinking?
think we're entitled to a couple for taking the risk, aren't we?
Couple of grand.
Don't you?
Yeah. So we're going to ask like 33,
Yes,
5.
well, 33, 5, wherever you want to be with it. But I think that's fair, don't you?
Brand new battery, brand new hybrid module, and it's going to have a brand new hybrid battery in another 10 days' time.
Yes.
So by the time people are watching this video, it's probably going to be another good week before I get it done.
Yes.
And it's while you wait, so I can go in, have a coffee, and
Yeah.
then you drive out.
That's
so
it.
I'll get that done. We'll chuck it on Instagram. If no one wants it, I'll quite happily drive around in it until someone does.
Like you say, I think you'd trade out of it
Easily,
for that sort of money, easy. So
Absolutely beautiful.
No drama.
Actually, thinking about it, we will ask 33.5 because I got Josh to service it while it was there. It has had a service as well,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
now on the portal. So
Yeah.
that's going to be the end of today's video and the end of the series and the end of the first video on the Range Rover Sport. If you did enjoy it, of course, hit that thumbs up. We really do appreciate it. If you want to follow us on our other socials, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, the links for them are in the description down below, where you can just search Salvage Rebuilds. Don't forget, like, subscribe and share, and we look forward to seeing you all very, very soon in the next one.
No joke, Rob.
No joke.